What if I told you that you can fall head over heels in love with yourself? I'm talking that all-consuming, can't get enough, love everything about you type of love. Well, you can. The Self Plus Love Equals Balance podcast is here to show you how. Every week, we'll share tested strategies, personal stories, and invaluable resources to help you take a balanced approach to loving yourself. Here's your host, Carrie, the Balanced Nurse. Let's get to the love.
Hey, hi ladies. It feels so incredibly good to be back. I hope that your new year is off to an amazing start so far. I was able to spend some time with my family over the holidays and now back into the groove of things. I could not wait to get back to connect with you guys and kind of share all this stuff that I got overflowing in my cup. Really speaking to the theme of today's episode, I feel for the new year, I've had quite a bit of conversations with women that are reevaluating things. Really, as we do when it comes to both the end and the beginning of the year, although the beginning of the year being one of taking action on that reflection more so than just, evaluating the sum of where you are right now. But there's a lot of women that have been reflecting on, what am I doing for me? What has brought me to where I am? Is this really where I want to be? And what and who are going to get me to where I need to go? And I like to spend some time in helping you really grasp the concept of considering yourself as a cup, right? And the cup has to do with the state of you. And I'm hoping that by the end of us kind of breaking through this analogy, if you would, that we are able to kind of have more of a solid plan as to how you need to proceed if you continue to look at yourself this way in more of a simplistic way. But before I get started, if at all you need to connect with me, I know I normally remind you at the end of the episode, please feel free. If you want to vibe with me, whether it's for any of the services I provide or for a session with me, all of the information is in the summary of where you're listening to this episode. And of course, I'm always really responsive. If there's anything else or any feedback you want to give me, you can also reach out to me at info@thebalancedrn.com. All right, so now that we have all that good stuff out of the way, we're talking about a cup. And what are you doing with your cup? And ideally, it's what are you doing with you? So if we take your cup and I'll give different examples, whether it's at home or you're out and about, really take the idea of whatever, but coffee mug at this point, just because I have my coffee here. And before you start to drink out of the cup, you're now evaluating, first of all, is this cup clean? Is it broken? Right? Is it filled? And if not, what do I need to put in this cup? And is the cup where it's supposed to be at the end of the day, both before and after using it? Right? And these all sound like very simplistic things that we consider when we go to use this cup, right? But if we look at ourselves in a simplistic way, we're able to really address our needs more intently, if you would, because we tend to lie to ourselves and ignore ourselves. And so sometimes it takes kind of going through the back door to get us to realize that no, we really need to be putting in a little bit more time and reflection into what's most important, which is ourselves. All right, so let's first evaluate, is this cup clean, right? Are you clean? Are you doing what you need to do on a daily basis to maintain yourself, right? These are things that we take for granted. What I see and what I've heard a lot of women really kind of reflecting back on is especially the end of the year, like trying to get everything together. Oh my gosh, I haven't been to the dentist in so long, or I haven't had time to get this done for myself. I haven't had time to get that done for myself. Well, if you were going to drink out of a cup and the cup itself appeared dirty, you wouldn't use it, right? Or you would have to stop to clean it, all depending on if it's your cup, in your house or if you went out to eat kind of thing. So you have to address the very basic, simplistic, daily maintenance things that you need for yourself. And just to add a little bit more to that, these should be things that not just that you need, but also makes you feel good about yourself. Take that extra time to beautify yourself, to pour into yourself, get that exercise in, feed your belly, eat food, not the idea that I'm so busy I don't have time to eat. No, you have to physically maintain and take care of your cup. And a lot of us get so wound up in what is pulling at us or what our obligations are. However, our obligations and what we would like to do for people will not get done if we, as a cup, we're not able to do it. If we're broken, which brings me to my next point, it's what is the state of your cup? Are you able to function? Can you even hold anything? Can anybody hold you? Right? So we're pushing forward, we're goal slaying, we're multitasking, but honestly, are you broken? Is there something that needs to be fixed? Is there something that you are glossing over? Do you have trauma that needs to be healed through? Are you holding on to anger? Are you holding on to resentment? Is it eating away at you at this point to where even if your cup were to be filled, it's kind of seeping out on its own, right? Are you even capable of filling your own cup right now, or does your focus need to be on getting yourself repaired, right? I think that's also something that we overlook when it comes to ourselves in general. We are, we get things done. We just keep pushing on to the next thing. But the great thing that I love about a new day is that it gives us a fresh start to really address the things that we didn't address yesterday, and also to better address the things that we could have done a little bit better yesterday. It's definitely, in my opinion, not a day to repeat the same things that we did yesterday that didn't really push us further than where we truly want to go, or towards where we truly want to go. And we do such a great job at masking how broken we are that sometimes we forget that we're really even broken, right? It's kind of like if we have like a cut, and as long as that cut hurts or it's visibly bleeding, do we pay attention to it, right? However, as a nurse, I guess that my focus is not so much the cut, but it's, oh, let me make sure that this thing heals good because I don't want an infection. I don't want a scar. I don't want this thing to prolong. And if we consider it that way, where we're not just addressing what we're able to see and what is bothering us at the moment, whatever you did to obtain that cut, and then it's like that's what stops you, and it's like, oh my gosh, I'm bleeding. But when that's, you get yourself a band-aid and it's out of sight, out of mind, it's kind of like, oh, I'll deal with that later. No, Now is the time that we're evaluating and addressing our cup. And if your cup is broken, it's time to heal. If you have some bitterness, if you have resentment, if you have things that are keeping you from really being your whole and your best self, it's time to address those things before we look to fill our cup, whether it's from ourselves or others. Because we want to make sure that whatever we're putting in stays in, right? That it's not seeping out from somewhere that we're neglecting to address, right? So as we kind of dig into, just the status of our cup, further evaluation, if we kind of go a little bit beyond, if the cup itself is broken, it's, are we filling it, and what are we filling it with? Whether you're in a relationship or not, I think one of the trouble that we have, and I'll say in a relationship with ourselves as well as in a relationship with others, is we're so quick to evaluate what we're able to see on the exterior. How does this cup look? Again, addressing the cleanliness, addressing whether it's broken, but as far as it being filled, that is equally important, because if your cup is not filled, it's really not serving its purpose, right? So what keeps you full? What makes you happy? What do you like to do? Right? What is it that gets you excited? What are you passionate about? And this is without looking at other cups. This is without looking to someone else to put this thing in. What do you like to do that if you were a cup, you would want this in you all the time? You know, so we start to kind of reflect on things like hobbies. We reflect on our passions, things that we can do without looking at the time or worrying about the time. And although, and my belief is that we're always here to be of service to some degree to each other, seeing that we're all connected. And so very often our purpose ends up being what we're able to kind of mold into what others are able to use or benefit from. The trouble with that view, depending on how literal you take it, is that we cannot become so engulfed in making sure that other people like or love or they're interested in what our passions are, that we lose sight of the fact that they really need to fill us up. And so today, I'd like to invite you to really evaluate that. I'm seeing that as a huge theme for lots of us ladies, that where we are, our accomplishments, the things that we're doing repetitively, we really need to evaluate if it's truly filling our cup. Or is it, I just had a thought, is it a space filler? Right? This is important if we're considering ourselves a cup, because for someone to drink from us, right? So, still using that same analogy, it needs to be something that it's of use, right? So you want to feel good holding this thing as far as what you're giving out. And if we're just still using that same idea as far as what you're putting in your cup, it's important that you consider what your thought process is. Are you sitting there empty, waiting for someone else to fill your cup? This is another way that we kind of disappoint ourselves. We delay ourselves on our journeys that we have towards our purpose or our transformation, is that we are perfectly capable of filling our cup so that we're able to be of use in our purpose, right? Yet we delay that, and we dim the light of what we're supposed to do because we're waiting for someone else to fill our cup. The trouble with that is we're leaving too much. We're giving too much power for someone else to address what we know perfectly. We know what it is that we want in our cup. We know what would make us feel whole. We know what we want to serve. We know what kind of cup we want to be. We know what we want to be represented by. However, if we're waiting for someone else to fill our cup, consider it coffee if you're a coffee drinker. There's very few people that can make my coffee the way I like it. I'm being completely honest with you, and there's a lot of people like that. Yes, I will drink coffee that you make for me. I'm not going to tell you, oh my gosh, this is horrible. But I know for me to drink my coffee every day, I have to make it myself. And or the person needs to be, very in tune with me to know how I like my coffee. And that would have taken some conversations. And so when we are leaving it to other people to fill our cup, we're leaving a lot in their hands for them to control. And we are also giving up much of our satisfaction and, in other cases, our happiness just to have something be put in our cup where it's not necessarily what we want, you know? And I guess that the purpose of this analogy, and I hope that it really makes sense to you, because I find that when we are considering ourselves, we only deal with the bits and pieces that are really, really easy to deal with, to be quite honest. So, getting up and just doing what we have to do and making it through the day is it is a thing that we need to leave in the past, especially as we are addressing how to move forward for 2020. You are here for so much more than where you currently are. And I don't care what your level of success is, there's always further that we have to go. And it always takes thinking outside of the mindset of where we currently are, right? And so using analogies like this really helps to bring us back to the simplicity of staying in the game and doing the foundational work that we have to do in order to push us forward, right? We can't serve what we have to serve out of our cups from a dirty or a broken cup, right? We also can't look to be of service if we're looking for somebody else to fill our cups up. You know, if you're a coffee cup, you're not trying to serve cold water kind of thing. You know, be who you are, but make sure that you're the one that is putting in what you're designed to serve. And most importantly, in this analogy, if we just take the cup itself, yourself, right? And I'll just take, I go into my kitchen in the morning and I go straight for the coffee cups. I am going in the area where I keep my coffee cups. Are you where you're supposed to be? Right? Whatever your purpose is, will your purpose find you in the area of where you're supposed to be? Or are you left out somewhere in an area where you're not supposed to be so that when your purpose comes to grab you in the morning to make that perfectly designed cup of coffee, are you going to be missed? right? And if we look at it in this simplistic way, it really brings us back to the idea of, gosh, I have to really focus on me. I have to make sure that I'm taking care of myself every day. The things that I need to maintain myself, I need to do that. I need to make sure I'm healing anything that is breaking me or that has broken me or that's keeping me in a space of being stagnant. This reflection in itself is necessary because we're not meant to just stay in one space that does not really serve what our true purpose is, right? So, my hope for you with this analogy and just in our vibing today is that this is helping to kind of get the juices flowing, get you thinking along the lines of what do I need to be doing and addressing on the foundational level to make sure that I'm supporting myself as to where I need to go, what my next step would be, right? Because any idea that you have, I know that we talked about this before, anything that may have come up in your mind. And yeah, we have people and things that may give us this sense of motivation and ideas and so forth. And sometimes those are definitely messages for us, nudges for us as far as, hey, you need to get moving on this idea, or look, this person is doing this, so you can really move forward with your idea. But I find, as others do, that when I am pouring into myself and healing myself and spending the necessary time with myself, filling up my cup, that is when I have those really flashing lights. Girl, this is what it is. This is where you're going. This is what you need to do kind of moments, right? Because without that, if we are not on a foundational level, okay, if we're not clean, if we are not happy in terms of like just on a physical level, if we are broken, if we don't have what we need in us, we're not going to have like the energy just as beings to be able to notice what those signs and those nudges are as to what our next move should be. Right. So I know that we lead these very busy lives. I know that we are chronic multitaskers. I know that there's things that we're supposed to do. However, just remember that's one aspect of you. The entire reason for your being and where you're trying to go in 2020 is to spend more time in the reason for your being, right? Not just busy being. And so with that, let's really take the vow today, this week, to focus on our cup. Evaluate your cup. Make sure that it's clean. Make sure that it's not broken. Make sure that you are determining what type of cup you're going to be. Are you a coffee mug? Are you a cup that only serves cold water, with garnishes? Are you a wine glass? Make those evaluations and then determine what it is that you need to make sure that you are truly of service as to who you are. Okay? So I am always, always, always sending you love and gratitude for spending your time and vibing with me. I'm really happy that I am back. And of course, as I mentioned, you want to connect with me on a more personal level. You want to vibe with me. I definitely, as you know, I provide coaching services along with a bunch of other stuff. You could take a look at my website. The link is in the summary below of the episode, as well as reaching out to me at info@thebalancedrn.com. And in the meantime, don't forget to do your math differently. Bye.
Thanks for joining us for another episode of Self plus Love equals Balance. Be sure to rate and review us on whatever app you use to listen. It goes a long way in helping others find our community. Until then, remember to do your math a little differently and love yourself.